I welcome you guys back to my next video. Thank you very much. I realize that now I'll be talking about how to plan. I need you to understand that organization is the way to go. I need you to understand that attitude is everything when you're planning, and those people who can plan can do everything. I need you to understand that planners are winners, and those people who have a plan will achieve their goals. I need you to understand that when you have no plans, you have no journal. I need you to understand that those people who have a plan are the ones who can really write. I need you to understand when you can say a word today, I promise you can learn how to communicate today. And you should understand you're doing a journal every single day. I just need you to write about your story. I need you to write about something of your life. I need you to understand you go write something about anything. I need you to go write metaphors down. I need you to go write poetry down in your journal. I need you to go date it every single day. And then you upload it online into the online storage. And then you understand that you go and make your journal, which is everything about your life. I mean, it's your videos, I mean, it's your journal, I mean, it's your writing and your books and your images and everything about you. You put it online in online storage, and that's your history. You understand? And then guess what? Each and every day, you make a nice, beautiful day on your nice, beautiful journal. And guess what? Each and every day, you talk about your day, every single day. I promise you, that's how you plan. I promise you plan in a way, you're always speaking about what happened today in your life, and that way, you will learn from it. You understand? Because you ask yourself, what did I learn from this situation? And that's called self-evaluation. I promise you, I need you to self-evaluate about what did you learn from this scenario. Because if you're not learning something, you are not growing and you are not planning. You understand? Because planning is all about organization skills and making sure that you're constructive in your communication. So the more you write, the more you can plan. You have to understand, the more you can write, the more vocabulary you will have. And the people who have more vocabulary skills are the ones who are more successful. You have to understand that the spiritual people who are more spiritual in life have, I promise you, and have more consciousness in life are the ones who have more awareness and have more vocabulary skills. I promise you, they're the ones who are relating synonyms with antonyms and synonyms with synonyms and antonyms with antonyms. Because when you rhyme together, words together in terms of the opposites, you'll find the yin and yang. And when you do it in a journal and you're writing everything in a journal in terms of reading between the lines and making sure that you write metaphors and you're looking at this word and you're saying, from this word, I'll make sure to better my words this way. And you understand that when you're bettering your words in your journal, you have this whole big crossword in your journal. It's about your story. And then you understand that you have to play with your crossword, you have to put the numbers in, and you have to realize you have to talk about your story all the time. And so when you're a person who's planning every single day, you understand you're organizing your time, you're organizing your strategy, you organize your planning techniques and your mindset and your health and your nutrition and your weight loss and your muscle proteins and everything in terms of where you're going to travel and what you're going to do, and you're setting goals every day and you're making sure to understand who to stay away from and who to read from. You have to understand you have to do this in a journal, you have to plan, you have to do something every single day in your journal to make sure that every single day you're doing something foundational to add value. I promise you, anything that's an idea or a thought form or anything that you can say in a journal, you do it today and you do it in any way possible, and there's no way that's right or wrong to start. I promise you, just write word for word every day about yourself in your journal, about something about your life. I promise you, that's the way to plan. I promise you, the way to plan is to make sure that each and every word that you say is better than yesterday in a way that you're according to what you are today in a better way. Understand? So the whole point of communication is to have more integrity, and the more integrity you have is the better your life. So be that type of person who's scheduling everything in your journal. I mean, today you're going to write tomorrow at 3 p.m. you're going to be at this place because you wrote it today, and that way you have a plan for tomorrow. You understand? So tomorrow comes today, and you understand that those people who are really foundational are the ones who are writing in the journal more, and they're the ones who are really writing and making sure that every day they're writing, they're doing it much better, and they're making sure they're living up to a better way. Because when you're living up to a better way, you're doing something amazing. I realize that when you're understanding disciplines and something goes wrong in your life, you have to understand you stay from what's wrong and right in life. You have to understand you have to grow from that. You have to realize that it's never about what's wrong or right. You have to understand that when something's preventing you, you stay away from it. I promise you, when you have a problem, you stay away from it. You understand? I promise you that when somebody's violent with you, you stay away from it because you made a problem out of it. I mean, when you make a problem out of it, you stay away from it. Understand? So make sure that you are listing everything down in your journal. I promise you have to list and you have to reason upon reason upon reason upon reason upon reason upon reason. Understand? Because reasoning is communication, and when you're reasoning more and more, you understand your communication skills are going to be more and more. You have to understand that planning is really, you look inside of your journal, you create 10,000 words for the day. I realize you need to recap how your day went with all that journaling. You understand? So you're always journaling about something about your life. You're learning about this and you're learning about that, and you're writing your journal about what you've learned every single step of the way. And then once you've done that, you understand you're becoming more of a profession in something. And what is that? I realize it's about your life. I realize it's about you. You're becoming more professional in you. And and that way you understand that when you're planning about you and how you're going to better you every single day. And then when you're doing that, you understand that you're writing point forms, you're writing numbers, you understand that how I started my journaling, I started with 1 page, and it's a 7-month page, and then I went into daily requirements, and I wrote daily tasks, and I wrote daily goals, and then I wrote daily dates, you understand? And then I made sure to every day upload my PDFs online, and my journaling has become different over time, although I have a nice bit of structure now because I've been journaling for 2 years, you understand? Because each and every day I write something more different about me that I've never exposed before, and that way you understand that when I leave it behind, you have to understand that you will find it, and that way you understand how I live my life, and then you will understand to live your life much better than me, and that way you understand that when you take action upon how I live life, you have to understand I've taken massive action to make sure I've done something that I've never done before, and I make sure every day I revise everything in terms of my life. I revise everything in terms of my life to make sure that I can recap and to make sure that I look inside about my journal. So each and every day when I wait in line or something, I never wait about anything. I just never wait. I just make sure I get into my journal and start writing about how to grow from this. I make sure I grow from everything. I grow from every single day. I make sure every single day is my one step, and my one step must be accomplished in a better way. I must make sure I must do something today that I've never done, and that way I'm increasing my discomfort zone. And then once I'm in discomfort, I'm making sure that I can grow. I'm making sure I'm planning. I make sure that today, after this video, I make sure I go into my accommodation. I then make sure that no matter what, I go and expose much more of how I really learned from this video, and what did I learn about the people around me, and what did I learn about the Brisbane area today. In a sense, I make sure to revise every single day about what's happening in my world, because in my world is my new news today, and I must be better than yesterday. I realize that when you're depressed, you're doing worse and worse and worse and worse and worse over time. You understand? And it builds up slowly. You understand that when you're doing better and better and better and better, you have to understand you're like the Formula One who is really winning it all the time. You understand? So be that person who is always winning it in life. You understand? You have to win something over. You have to win yourself over. You have to win yourself over every single day. You have to do something today that's going to help you to inspire yourself. And a journal is that in what you plan in. You have to plan in a journal. And your Pokedex is your journal. You have a Pokedex. I have a Pokedex over here. I have 2 Pokedexes, you understand? I mean, one is connected to my speaker, and the other one is connected into my video. You have to understand that when I video something, I video in the best fashion possible. I make sure I have a megapixel camera that's really good, make sure that my storage is really good, and making sure that I can do 6-hour videos, whatever. You understand? Because each and every time I do a public speaking gig, I have to make sure I video record myself, and this is also how to plan on the go. So I'm always planning on the go in a way that I've never done before, and that way you understand each and every time you change your communication in a different way each and every time. I promise you plan it a better time every single day. And so make sure that when you're planning your journal, you're organizing your life and what you're going to wear, and how you're going to wear it, and why is this color so important. And you have to ask yourself questions in your journal about what you're going to watch today, at what time. I promise you at what time you're going to watch it, and also where you're going to go and why you're going to go there, and how come it's so special for you, and what you're going to do today, and how come that's so healthy, and what is this, and what is that, and when are you going. Because when is always now. You have to realize when is now. You have to understand, you go now, so remove the when question and you just go now. You understand? You got to do now. You have to understand that what's important today is you realize that when you're an important person, you're going to realize that scheduling is everything. So when you're scheduling something, you're writing in your journal every single day, you're doing something important, you're doing something really foundational. You may have a nice beautiful performance coming up in a month from now. You understand you're going to do your performance today, because you never have to wait 1 month to do your work. You understand? You just go and do it today. You're never waiting for anything. You're never waiting for your plane flight. You go and do your work while you're going into your plane flight. You understand? You do your work. You do something, you plan on the plane. You get your journal out and you're saying, today I'm going to Darwin, and it's going to be special because when I get there, it's going to be something amazing, and I'll make sure that each and every time I get there, I'll go to this hostel because it's this price, and I'll make sure to do this and that. I'll make sure that I make my life affordable. I'll make sure that I can get some discounts today because I heard this place has a beautiful SIM card where I can get it for this price. And you plan in your journal every single day about how you're going to do that. You understand? So each and every time you read my journal, for example, I promise you that's how to journal. I promise you when you look at my example about how to plan, I promise you have my journals on how to plan. I promise you you have my life in my journal. You understand? Because my journal is my videos, and my planning is my videos, and my planning is also my quotes, and also my videos and my audio programs. You understand? So everything is abundant in that. You have to understand its richness. You have to understand it's really great to have somebody who's a great public speaker to be around you and to lift you up. Because when you're around great people, you will be a greatness yourself, you know what I'm saying? So be around those people, and that way you understand to always lift yourself. You lift yourself in your journal, you plan every single day about your life, and what time you're going here, and why you're going at that time, and why do you have to be around this person? What's so good about this person? I don't know. Is this person teaching you something? I mean, what are they teaching you? I mean, you have to decipher everything in your journal. You have to understand, who exactly is this person? Are they good for me or bad for me? You have to understand, are they positive or negative? I mean, what are their good habits and what are their bad habits? And then you have to plan it. You have to realize you have to be more aware that way. You have to understand, you have to be awareness, and to be awareness, you have to ask yourself, why are you with this couple right now? Why are you with that guy? What is so good about that guy? What do you have in common with that guy? Are you toxic with him? You have to understand. You have to go and ask yourself so many questions in your planning. And when you're journaling something, you understand that you're scheduling also. And scheduling means that on this day, you will be here at this spot, and then you'll make sure to get there. And then you have to prepare it. I mean, after this nice, beautiful public speaking gig, I'll make sure I go into my accommodation. I have to prepare for the next day. I have to make sure I be on time. I've been late for the past 2 days. I realize I still come and I still show up. I make sure I do my 3 hours for the day instead, because guess what? That's my passion. Because I do 3 hours of video work. That's my passion. I make sure that I plan it every single day to be here and to do something I realize to do something that's pronouncing me in a better way. You have to understand that each and every time I went to Toastmasters, for example, I have to be there 30 minutes earlier because I was the person who starts off the Toastmasters, and then I say, good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and I started that, and I realized I brought it to straight now. You understand? How did I do that? I planned it. I planned everything. I planned to lose weight. I lost 47 kilos. I planned that over a certain period of time. I turned vegan. I planned to turn vegan. I travelled 1 year of Australia. I went to many places of Australia. I planned to travel for 1 year. You understand? I traveled for 1 year without a 9-to-5 job. I promise you that's amazing. As I said, I plan to do that. I plan to be here for 6 days. You understand? So it's all a plan. I have to plan more and more and more every single day to accomplish my goals. I have to understand that it's a way of life, and you have to understand. You have to take ownership. And I promise you, as soon as you start planning, I promise you, you're taking more accountability, and that's responsibility and ownership about your life. And then you're going to say, why is she so good? I mean, why do you want to marry her? I mean, what is so special about her? I mean, why is she in your life? And who is she? And how did you meet her? And what do you love about her? And what are her passions? And what are her goals? And you have to understand, you have to go and learn about people. Understand? And you learn about who's important and who's not important. And then you remove the people who are not important from your life. And then you put 20 goals down. For example, you put 20 goals and you do the top 3 only. Understand? And that's your life. Understand? You just do the top 3 goals, and that's your life in life. Understand? And you have to understand, you just go and do what's most important. You have to understand that 80-20 principle rule is saying that when you write 20 goals down, you only focus on top 3. Understand? Because that's the most important, and that's all you have to do. Understand? So you go do what's most important today, and you understand that happiness is to be planned. You have to plan happiness all day. You have to plan happiness to do better each and every single day. You have to do planning every single day to make sure that no matter what you're doing, you always never follow the crowd, because when a crowd is very loud and you never turn to see what this person's doing because you're with the crowd and they're all shouting and arrogant and they're doing something because other crowd's doing it, and then they don't care about you, and you're following them, and you realize that's the way to go, and realize you're always going to be the crowd, you know what I'm saying? So never be the crowd, realize you have to be that person who is alone in life. You have to go alone. You don't follow the sheep. You don't follow the sheep, you go follow the wolves. You understand? You go follow somebody who's doing something really amazing and qualifying in terms of communication. I mean, when you see a street performer who's a public speaker, someone on the street, and they're really doing something around video work, I mean, you have to understand that many people laugh at me because I do this. And because I do this, I realize that I do it on video and I'm never missing out. Understand? Because I'm always boosting my communication skills, and I have a nice beautiful Instagram over here, and that way I'm always planning myself a better favor in life. I'm always doing something that's much greater than yesterday, and that way I'm always planning to make sure I succeed and have more skills. I make sure that I have nice beautiful mentors over here. I make sure that I show you over here that no matter what, you can see I have mentors that I have to watch today. I realize that you see over here, I have mentors I have to watch today. I'm always updated about life. I have 5 videos I have to watch today because I have to update myself with my mentors. You have to understand, because I plan every single day, I subscribe to their YouTube channels, and when they post a video, I promise you, when they post a video, I watch it, and then when they have no videos to give me, I go and buy myself a audiobook. And I never buy anything, I just invest in audiobooks. Instead, I invest money. I'm never buying anything outright. I just invest in everything I do. You understand? I invested in a chair. I never bought the chair because I just renting it for $6 for every day. You understand? So guess what? You're just a person who's always renting anything. I mean, the chair is $6. You understand? I got it for $6 and that's it. I never bought the chair because guess what? I'm never going to keep it all my life. You understand? I'm just renting it for a certain period of time and that's it. I'll bring it on the plane with me or whatever. You understand? So be a person who goes on the street performance, has a chair, and you're never having to stand because you're doing it the smarter way. You understand? You're doing it the smarter way. You're taping yourself as you go along and you're never missing out with your communication skills. You're helping someone along the way. You're helping 7 billion people right now, and that way you understand that once your following on Instagram goes to 300 million, you understand why you're doing street performance. You understand? And that way you understand that no matter what, you're a person who's high in intent in terms of your integrity. You have your I factor, which is your I. You understand? I have a dream because every day you have to understand you plan with your I and you. You have to understand that communication skills is everything when you're doing your I and you factor, which is you must start with the you in action and you must realize that I and you begins and ends with I and you. Understand? So that's how you communicate. You communicate in a way you ask more questions and you're doing a journal with yourself. You don't need anybody else. You don't need people to plan for you. You don't need people to take responsibility for you and take ownership of your life. You need to do that yourself. You do that in your journal every single day. You do something far greater today than you've ever done before. You do it in your journal. You realize that you're doing something amazing. I had a nice, beautiful motivation from my biological father because my biological father is a singer, and for 20 years as I was growing up he was singing in front of a crowd, and he was singing around christenings, and he was singing around weddings and birthday parties and around these functions. I go with him to the weddings and all of this, and I only go because he's invited and all of this. Although I sit there, I have a nice beautiful meal, and guess what? I see my dad singing in front of people. I realize that's incredible because many people can never sing in front of people. You understand? So you realize why I hold a microphone today? Because I'm so inspired, and guess what? I deserve it. You understand? Because I took the action. I mean, my biological father has that kind of action to give me, so I took upon it to make sure I go grab myself I'll go grab myself a microphone and I start to speak to and make sure no matter what that I am going inspired to. You understand? So make sure you understand that I get inspired by those people who are doing something much more fashionable in life. I thank you very much. Thank you. How are you? I realize no matter what, you just be a person who is really inspiring and make sure no matter what you're doing in a journal every single day. You're realizing no matter what, you're doing something always. You're doing something always to make sure that you connect your phone in a way that is going to charge and it's going to make sure that your video is going to be heard, and you realize that my video went on 15%, so I make sure that I charge it. I have portable chargers. I have 2 portable chargers. I have 6 recharges. I realize that since I have 2 portable chargers, I can recharge my speaker for 9 hours. I can speak on the street for 9 hours all day. You understand? So my little portable charger can charge my beautiful speaker over here. You have to understand that you just do something amazing. You do something with a gift, and you make sure the gift is your planning every single day. You're doing something. You're planning that you're planning your life. You're planning how to be more athletic. You're planning. I thank you very much. I thank you. I realize no matter what, you be a person who understands. You support people. You plan to support people in a better way. You do something for the common good. I mean, when you just need to be recognized, you do something amazing and you give a wave, you understand? Because guess what? Why not? You understand? You do something to lift people up, you understand? And when you're lifting people up, it can be even a wave like that, because I get lifted up by support. I realize when you have cheerleaders on your side, you understand that people are waving, and sometimes I do it as well. You have to understand I'm doing it right now because I'm a cheerleader in life. I'm lifting you up, you understand? Because that's the whole point in life. You have to understand, you be a cheerleader in life all your life. I realize all your life you're doing something special in a way that you're planning. You're planning your organizational skills. You're planning what you're going to do at 1 o'clock. I mean, what are you going to do at 2 o'clock? I mean, what are you going to do at 3 o'clock? I mean, what are you going to do at 4 o'clock? I mean, what are you going to do of every single hour of every single day? And I promise you have to do it better. You understand? I promise you that you may be a person working from 7 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You plan that and then realize you have to do something after that. So plan it. I mean, plan it ahead of time. You have to plan something ahead of time in your journal. You have to plan how you're going to live your next 73 years of life. You understand? So make sure you have a goal to live up to 100, because otherwise you never planned it. You understand? I promise you, if you never plan to live up to 100, I promise you never will. You understand? I have a plan to live up to 100 years of age. You understand? Because I have a goal. I mean, you have to make that your goal. I promise you, those people who never have a journal will never have goals. You understand? So be a person who has goals today, because you have a journal today to write your goals down for the next 50 years. You have to be that type of person who's doing that every single day. You have to be that type of person who's really inspiring and making sure no matter what you're doing, you're always investing attention. And when you're investing attention, you'll understand that attention is intention. So the more attention you have, the more intention you gave. In a sense, so you're giving attention. You're giving something of recognition. You're giving something of value. You're giving something that's really going to help you to succeed every single day. You're doing something every single day to make sure that you can do it every single day in a better way. You understand? Because those people who give you love are the ones who are going to gain it. In a sense, so give more love today and realize you'll never lose your love. You never lose the love you're giving. You only gain it when you're giving it more. In a sense, so to be a person who's giving more love, I promise you'll gain it in the process. In a sense, so be that person who's always calling your family. In a sense, I promise you never wait for your family to call you. You never wait for people to call you. You just call them. I promise you only call them when they're valuable. In a sense, you call them when they're valuable. In a sense, you never call people who are never valuable. You call people who are uplifting you. You understand? You call them. You make sure you call a friend. And that way you'll be a millionaire all your life. You understand? You'll be a millionaire when you call a friend who is something greater. And then you go and call people who are greater than you, and that way you learn from them. You say, how can you teach me this one? How can you teach me that one? What did you do over here? How did you go this way? What happened over here? Teach me. Or else when you say teach me, you say, I need to learn from you. I need you to teach me. You have to put your I there. You have to say, you never just say teach me. You say, I need you to teach me. You're saying, you never give people commands. You say, I need you to do this for me. I need you to do that for me. You have to realize that when you say kiss me, you never say kiss me. You say, I need you to kiss me. You understand? You never say love me. You say, I need you to love me. You understand? Because it's the I that's going to matter in that sentence. And you should understand that I creates everything. And when you're in your journal, putting your I factor all the time, you understand that the I will always never die. You understand? So the more your I increases in life, the more you'll live. And also you understand that your you must be everything in terms of a journal. You have to understand that your you factor must be everything in your journal. In the sense that you're using the you in action every time you're in the journal. You understand that these days I'm journaling in a way that I speak with the you intent. I'm always speaking, you must do this, you must do that, you must go this way. You understand how this happened, you understand that you were doing this, you understand how the crowd was, you understand that when you're doing this, you understand that you went this way, and because you did, you understand I went and done that. And you understand that when you're doing this, you understand that you got yourself this because you showed up today, and when you showed up today, you did this. And when you did this, you learned this, and because you learned this, you did this. You understand? And then when you do this, you understand what you're saying, you understand what you did over here because you've done that, and because you've done that, you learned this. You learn this, and that's value that you can give to the crowd. And then you're just playing with yourself in terms of your journal. You're making sure when you're playing, you're growing. You're saying you're never buying into pleasure. You're never investing in pleasure activities. You're never doing spin the bubble. I don't know what spin the bubble is. Now you have to understand, you go do something much better than spin the bubble and cinemas and entertainment, because that's pleasure-seeking activities. I promise you, anything that's wasting time is entertainment. I never need you around entertainment. I never need you to be in that crowd. I need you to be on the pitch scoring goals while the entertainment is around you, watching you. Understand? You watch yourself scoring goals rather than watching the crowd. And so you're scoring goals every single time, and that way you're going to be the striker, you're going to be on the offense, and you're going to be a keeper as well. You're going to be one of those keepers that every single person needs in life. You understand? Because that way you're going to uplift people, you're going to be an asset, because you have the communication skills to lift people, and those people who have communication skills are assets. I realize that no matter what, you're a person who's really something in life, you're doing something amazing, you have assets in your life. I promise you, assets is communication. So when you're a person who's really planning more and more and more, you're going to have more assets, because the more assets you have, the more knowledge you have. In a sense, so the more you write and teach, the more of a business you have. So those people who teach 300 hours of courses are going to be more valuable than ones who've never taught anything at all. I mean, it's common sense. You have to understand that those people who have 50 years of journaling are going to be much more valuable because they wrote something in that journal than those people who never started at all. You understand? So be a person who recognizes that you go and write 50 years of journaling in your life, and that way you'll be better than the ones who never started the journal in the first place. Understand? So go give 300 hours of courses, and that way you'll understand you'll be better than the ones who never started any courses at all. Understand? So be that person who's always doing better. You understand? Because that way you understand that those people are doing much more courses and doing much more video programs and everything in terms of teaching something are the ones who are going to do better in life than the ones who are never teaching at all. Understand? So be that person who's going to be somebody in your life. You be a somebody and you teach yourself how to grow. You never teach them, you teach yourself. I mean, by then you never teach the crowd how to grow, you teach yourself how to grow, and that way you teach the crowd even more. You give yourself the fountain of wisdom and love first, and then you can give it towards other people, because you first give it to yourself, you understand? You give yourself the love first, and that way you'll grow, and that's all that matters, you understand? You grow yourself, because most people never care about you and your knowledge and what you do and how you look like, and most people are racist, you understand? So be a person who never cares about them, and that way you understand that you care about yourself only, and that way you'll grow yourself and you'll lift them in the process. You understand? Because that's a leader. I promise you, a leader will grow you and will understand that when you grow people, you will be inspired by life. You'll be inspired, you'll be doing something amazing. I promise you that you always bring something to the table, and that way you understand that when you're planning something, you're planning to organize yourself in a better way that you've never done before. You have to understand that it's really about planning, and those people who have a plan will succeed. I promise you those. I thank you very much. I thank you. I realize no matter what, you just be a person who's always supporting and waving people a nice, beautiful thumbs up. You understand? Because that way you'll be a thumbs up in your life. You understand? So be a person who's supporting other people, and you'll be supported also. You understand? Because what love you give, you gain it back. You understand? You get a shout out from me for each time you give me a wave. You understand? So no matter what, you be a person who's waving all the time in a better way. You understand that you always be supportive of yourself much greater when you support other people. I promise you that you look at Armin van Buuren, for example. I promise you that person's I promise you, he has a big rapport, which is a big reputation, because he's spreading the vibe of everybody's music and he's sharing people's music around. And that is why he has such a big reputation, because he's sharing other people along with music, and that's the whole point. You share other people around, I promise you, you'll be promoted also. Because you're the one who's promoting other people, you also will be promoted. So but make sure that you make people your business, and make sure you study people and better people, and that's your whole business in life. Understand? Because if you're not lifting people, I promise you have no business in life. Understand? You need to be a lifter. You need to be a lifter. You need to be an upbeat. You need to be a deadbeat. You need to be a person who's deadbeat, because that way you're playing to uplift. You're playing to make sure that each and every word is going to be better. You write a fiction book. You write anything in life. I just keep a journal. I never have to write a fiction book. I never have to write a non-fiction book. I just keep a journal. I promise you that's my fiction fairy tale in life. I promise you it's everything in my life. You understand? Because my journal is everything that I ever need to write in. I promise you, my journal is my videos. I promise you, my journal is my audios. I promise you, my journal is my quotes. I promise you, my journal is my journal in terms of my writing journal. And I have more than enough. I have an audiobook. I have better than a book. I have better than a book. I have my face every single day in my book. Understand? My book is my courses. Or else you've got my face in my book every day. Understand? I make a 1 hour course, or I make a 3 hour course every day. I promise you, I have something to give you every single day. And you understand, when I give you 300 hours of content, I promise you, you're going to be much more better than having nothing of content around. You understand? So make sure you understand that 300 hours of content is much better than no content at all. So go and do some content today. Realize that you need to be that type of person who's doing some ideas. You need to realize that when you're planning and doing something according to planning, you're really increasing your skills. How can you increase your skills? How can you be a better person? How can you teach your kids to be better? How can you really make sure that you can go the freeway more? What points today can I realize that I can go the freeway? What ways can I go to make sure that I can grow? And name 20 lists of reasons on how you can grow and how you can do anything. I realize that when you're looking to lose weight, what do I have to study today to get me to where I need to go? And then you make sure that you're always planning in your journal. You're making sure no matter what, you're a person who is just writing about your day. You write about your past and what did you do in the past and why did you do it? And then you learn about your future and you realize the future is now and how you're going to better your future. Because when you better your future, you're better in this moment. And you understand that all there is in life is this moment. And then you realize that you have to stay away from people, and you'll understand, you'll name 20 people that you have to stay away from, and when you name 20 people you have to stay away from, that's time management. I promise you never have to go there again. In a sense, so you go somewhere new, and that way you're a trader. You're trading 20 old people for 20 new people. You understand? So you're going somewhere new in life. I promise you, I removed everybody from the past. I promise you, I just keep my biological father now and my biological dad's family. You understand? So I realize no matter what, I just go towards my mentors now. I have a new crowd. I have a new crowd. I have a new foundation in my life. And you have to realize that people from the past never know what I'm doing over here. I don't even know what I'm doing, although you understand that they aren't aware about what I'm doing. I'm aware about what I'm doing. You understand? So they're outdated about what I'm doing. And you understand that eventually when I get up in front of a crowd and speak, I promise you they're going to be like, how they going to do that? How are they going to do that? I realize I've been doing it for the past year or so. You have to understand that they're just outdated people. And you have to understand that you go and get yourself more updated about how to live life every single day. You're always much more planning in your journal. You're doing something incredible. You're asking yourself all the questions in the world, because when you do that, you'll grow much more. You'll make sure to plan ahead. You'll say, how can I make sure to always do this? How can I make sure to plan in a way that's going to help me to move forward? How can I make sure that I can do something greater that nobody else has? And then you just write about your life, and you realize you do something in terms of adjectives, and you realize you go and make an expression, and you do some abbreviations, and you spell words, and you also practice about grammar, and you practice about literature, and you practice about every single word in a dictionary, and then you go connect the dots, you make sure you go give some value, and you make sure that you sign this with your signature, and that way you understand that you have something to give every single day. You understand, you wake up, you have your journal straight away. You do your journal, you then go to the toilet, you do what you need to do, you then go have a shower, you then go do a street performance. After a street performance, you get into your journal, you eat something, you then make sure you get online, you get your mentors. You have to understand, when you do this, you'll be better for it. You guys have to make sure that no matter what happens, you continue your video by pausing it, and make sure that you unpause it once you fix your poster that has fallen down because of the wind or something like that, and that way you understand that you never be affected by the outside world. You just promote yourself better so that you don't look like a stupid idiot. You understand? You make sure that you look more appropriate, you make sure that you're looking better than yesterday, and that's all that you can give in life. I promise you the kindest way to live is to be better than yesterday, and to look better, and to feel better than ever, and to inspire. I promise you, once you can do that every single day, I promise you that's the way to plan every single day. I promise you, you need to plan in a way that you're going to be a peak performer, and you're going to promote other people, because when you promote other people, you're really promoting something of inspiration, and you are that. You have to understand, you promote yourself every single day, and that way you understand that no matter what happens, you're going to be a person of planning, you're going to be a person who has skills, you're going to be a person who has something of gratitude, and you're going to be doing something every single day, no matter what, and that way you understand that whatever happens, you're going to be a person of high intent, where you understand that when you're giving attitude, you're giving a better one only. You have to understand that I've, for example, a place where I used to go, and it's a certain place in Bunnering in Sydney. I realised I used to go there, and I realised it's so boring. I realised that you have one place over here, and there's all smokers over there, and I never have to go there. I realised it's so boring. I realised they're always the same crowd. I realised I said something in terms of life where I said if you always stay in the same crowd, you always be the same. I realised they got offended, and you have to understand when you get offended, you'll never grow. You have to understand that you'll never be offended in life, and that way you'll never be shaken. You understand? You'll never be a person who's shaken. You'll be a person who's really growing. You realise that when you're learning something from the past, you only learn and you only go to the past to teach yourself how to grow from that moment. You have to understand that the past is used as your database in order for you to grow. So you write it in your journal, and you write about everybody, and what did they do, and why did they do this, and why did they do that to you, and how come you're a victim, and why are you a victim today, and how can you become a better person to never be a victim, and you understand to never be shaken about the world around you and what's happening around the world, because you understand that when you're planning about your life, you're also going to plan how you can succeed and how you can dance better, and how you understand that, for example, if you need to dance better, you just dance in a new way all the time. You're always doing something new. And the more new you can become, I promise you, the more you can plan in a different way. So each and every time I speak, I have to speak in a different way. And that way I'm always bettering my communication. Because if I speak the same way, I never better myself. So if I live the same way all the time, I'm never bettering myself. Although I'm always bettering myself, because that way I'm always changing myself. I'm always changing my approach. I'm always changing my day in a different manner. I'm rotating my schedule, and I'm making sure my schedule is much better than yesterday always. And saying, because that way I'm always planning it down. I realize I'm never doing it in my head. I'm never doing anything in my head. I'm making sure I'm always in my journal doing it. I'm writing it down, because that's how you plan everything. You never do it in your head, because you can never do 1,000 thoughts in your head. You'll go nuts. You'll go crazy. You have to write it down. You have to write everything down. You have to understand that John C. Maxwell really dug into me, this inspiration, and he said you have to write ideas down. You have to write ideas down, and you have to write it intentionally. You have to intentionally grow, as he said in his book, The 15 Laws of Growth. I read his book. You have to understand, John C. Maxwell has a book, The 15 Laws of Growth. You go and read it, you realize that you have to grow intentionally. I mean, this is the way for me to grow intentionally. I have to communicate. I have to communicate. I have to communicate. And you understand? And that way I'm growing. I'm growing in a way that I'm applying the information I've already given. So I'll make sure that I never, ever fail. I'll make sure I always succeed in a way that I've never succeeded before. And that way, you understand, you go in the new path, you go in the new direction, you go in the new fashion, you go in the new model in life. I promise you, be the new model. I promise you'll always be in fashion. And you'll be that person who's always making sure that you're a better structure. You need a better structure in life. So to do that, you have to plan it. You have to plan it in your journal. You have to be fast with your communication. You have to realize that the faster you are in your communication, the better you are. You understand? You have to be more effective. You have to be fast. You have to be effective in life. You never be efficient, because efficient people are too right and wrong. You have to understand that efficiency is really a deficiency. You understand? So be a person who's effective and you understand something of effectiveness in clarity. You understand? You be a clarity person who has more clarity, because when people who have clarity are write it down, I promise you they're never losing. I promise you they're writing something of material down in order to help you. And that way, you understand, I'm writing down in this video about how to help you much more and more. And that way, the more I help you and your life, I promise you the more I help my life. You understand? And that's the whole point of living life. You understand? So be a person who's always helping and planning on how to help, and you plan on how to succeed and how to get off the drugs and how to be away from certain people and how to remove certain people from your life. You have to understand that planning is everything, and those people who plan are going to be winners. I promise you they're the ones who are setting goals. I promise you 3% of the world has a journal. You understand? You've got to be one of those 3% of the world that has a journal, although you understand that 1% of the world has a journal. You understand? I promise you be the 1% of the world who has a journal. You understand that those people are going to make a foundation that's much greater, and it's going to be bricks. They're going to make a house of bricks, because they're people who have all these courses. I mean, when you have courses, you have something to give. And when you have something to give, I promise you it's something you produce. I promise you it's something greater. I mean, I have over 300 courses, you understand? So you understand that when I give courses, you have to understand it's much better than a 9 to 5. You understand? So go give 300 courses about something and make it all 1 hour long. You understand? I promise you that way you'll make a big foundation. You'll do something incredible. You'll do something amazing. Understand? So be that type of person who can always understand that there is always a greater way to do something. So make sure you're always keeping up to date with yourself in what's happening in your life in a better way. Understand? So make sure you're always looking at how can you better your life, and list 20 reasons on how you can better your life today, every single day. Understand? You ask yourself every single day, and you list 20 reasons on how you can better your life today, and then you're going to do one step at a time. You understand? I promise you each and every day you have to do it. You have to understand that your schedule is going to remain different over time. I need to understand your schedule is something that's flexible each and every day. You have to understand you need to rotate the clock. I mean, eventually a wife or husband may come into your life. It's going to also impact your schedule, so you have to adapt quickly to that. You have to adapt to 3 kids. You have to adapt to 4 kids now. You have to adapt to 5 kids. You have to adapt the schedule all the time. In a sense, so be a person who's always adapting in a faster way. You have to understand, to be an entrepreneur, you have to travel the world. So that's your goal. You have to understand, in order to accomplish that goal, how are you going to get yourself out of the 9 to 5 job and make yourself a freedom lifestyle right now? And you have to plan that in a journal. You have to understand, you have to plan everything. You have to plan everything right now. And you have to understand to be in the leadership side today in order to do so. Because if you're not leadership quality, you'll never travel the world. You understand? You have to be a person who's traveling the world for free all the time. You understand? Because people give you money to go and speak. You understand? I promise you, they'll give you money and say, you're somebody of class and asset to me. I need you to give me a 1 hour speak. I need you to give me a 1 hour public speaking gig or whatever. You have to understand that they will go and say that. You have to understand when you are a person who understands that you're never them, you're you, and when they ask you to give you a certain amount or whatever, you just go do it for free. You're never doing it for the money. You understand? Because people who do it for money are the ones who are slaves to money. You never do it for the money, you do it for free. Understand? Because your passion must be built on freedom and never money. Understand? I promise you, money is a failing module. And you should understand that freedom is a successful one. I promise you that when you have money and freedom, you'd rather choose freedom than money. Understand? So be a person who's free of slavery, of drugs and money. Understand? I need you to understand, to be financially free, you have to be freedom first. You understand? You never make financial freedom with money. You make financial freedom with freedom first. You understand? You'll go freedom way first, and that way you understand it's got nothing to do with financial freedom. You understand? Because personal freedom and emotional freedom also make financial freedom. You understand? I promise you, those people who have emotional freedom and personal freedom are already financially free. You understand? So make sure you understand that I was a person who had personal freedom, and I still have personal freedom, although I realized that I have personal freedom and emotional freedom, and then I was working for the financial freedom. And then I realized that I do have financial freedom already. And I realized I'm freedom now. I realized that over the next 73 years, I have freedom. And how am I going to live life? I'm going to go the freeway. I mean, the freeway is going to get me there. I mean, how much money is enough money? I mean, whatever makes you free in life is the best way to go about money. I mean, how much money is it going to take for you to live? And that's the number that you need to accomplish in life over time. I mean, you may be a person who lives for the next 73 years. How much money is it going to take for you to live that life? I'm pretty sure that's the number you need every single day. You understand? So make sure no matter what, you understand that you build it through freedom. You have to understand that life is I'm pretty sure life is a long journey. You have to understand that 2 years is a long time. I'm pretty sure 1 day is a long time. I promise you that 3 days is a long time. I've been so excited for the past 6 days because guess what? I've been doing my content on the street. And because I have been doing it, I'm doing it in front of a crowd, and that way I boost my communication skills, I boost my level of intent, I boost my quality of life, and each and every day I learn something. I teach it straight away in my 3-hour videos every single day. I teach something every single day, and every day I fall asleep, I'm always a better person than yesterday. I'm always doing something that's great. I'm always doing something that's really going to help me. I'm always doing something that's really going to make me more powerful. You understand? Because what's powerful is communication skills. It's speaking your mind. You have to understand that any great speaker, such as Martin Luther King and also Jesus, and there's also Mahatma Gandhi. You have to understand also I realize John F. Kennedy are all great public speakers. You have to understand you need to go and do something that's leadership quality, and you have to do it today. And you have to understand that leaders will plan to succeed. You have to plan to succeed, otherwise you plan to fail. You have to understand, if you don't have a journal to plan to succeed today, you will plan to fail today. Understand? So be a person who has a purpose, I realize you have to be a person who has a journal, and that way you understand that each and every word I say, I'm always better than my words, because I'm never limiting myself to what I say. I'm always circling my words in a way that I make sure that I'm bettering my words. I make sure that in life, I make more of my life come true today, because I'm always different. I'm always changing myself. I'm changing myself in a new way. I'm not the same person I was 6 days ago. I'm not the person I was 1 minute ago. I'm always changing myself in a different person. I promise you that people who are stuck on you and how you were 5 years ago are people who are dying right now. You have to understand that you change your mentality in a better way. You change yourself, and you change yourself for the greater good. Understand? You change yourself in a way, you're improving yourself every single day. You're doing something very foundational in the way that you're going to show some more gratitude, you're going to give some more wisdom, you're going to do something really incredible today. And that way you're going to public speak on the street, you're going to do something really amazing every single day. You have to understand that you just be a person who's never negative. You'll understand that the coronavirus is going on around the world, and I'm public speaking on the street. I'm lifting people today. I'm lifting people because guess what? I'm not affected. I'm not affected about the coronavirus. And I'm saying the coronavirus is the best thing that ever happened to me, because guess what? I'm still lifting. You see, I'm still lifting myself. I'm still never punished by the outside world. You understand? Because I'm away from a 9-to-5 job. I'm making sure no matter what, I have a business over here. I promise you each and every day I show up. I make sure that every single year I can do a 1,095 hours of video each and every single year. I promise you that's a course of a lifetime. Understand? You go and read everything that you can, and that way you can go and succeed more, because you go and teach it like I am today. Understand? You go and do it in front of a crowd. Understand? And that way you understand that every single day you're going to do something amazing. You're going to realize that you speak fast and you never slow down for anybody. I realized I went to Toastmasters before, and the person's like, you talk too fast, you have to slow down. I'm like, I never slow down for you, because guess what? I can get 5,000 more words in the same amount of time than you can. They're saying I can do more words in one session than you can, so why would I slow down? Because I have to teach myself 5,000 more words. They're saying, so why would I slow down for you? I realize I'm not slowing down to grow you, I'm slowing down for nothing. They're saying I'm never slowing down in life. I'm never slowing down. I'm only growing. I'm only growing myself in a faster way and a more effective way. Understand? So make sure no matter what, you're always learning much faster. You're doing something much faster. You're applying much faster. You have to understand that Mel Robbins has a book, The 5-Second Rule, and it states that within 5 seconds you must write the idea down. I realize that I have a nice, beautiful quote app in my phone. I have 2 quote apps. I realize it's the same one. Although when I get a quote or an idea, I write it down quickly. I write it down within 5 seconds. Understand? And that way, I did it 23,000 times. I wrote 23,000 ideas in 23,000 quotes within 5 seconds. You understand? And that way, I'm really quick. I'm really giving you all these courses. You understand? So now you have to go read 23,000 of my quotes, because that will take you a month. You understand? So be that type of person who understands that you go and grab life and you lift it up, and you have to understand you plan life. You plan for people too, for something greater. You understand? You never plan for people, you plan for something greater. You understand? You have to understand that when you're planning for people, you're planning for something greater, and that greater is you. You have to understand that you go be greater in life. You have to understand that most people will never appreciate you and what you have, although you understand you go create your success anyway, and if they shoot you, who cares? You go live with Jesus. You understand? You have to understand that there's always a better world after this. I promise you there's an afterworld. I promise you Jesus says so. You understand? Because you have to believe in that. You understand? You have to believe in something greater. You have to understand. You go and be a person who understands to lift up, and you be a person who flies with the eagles. You're flying with the eagles, and you be with the wolves up there. You understand? You go with the pack of wolves, and you understand you'll meet each other 3-4 times a year, and then you understand you go to New Zealand, you'll public speak there. You go to Serbia, Belgrade, you'll go and speak there. You go to Zagreb, Croatia, you go and speak there. You go Ibiza, you go and speak there too. You understand? You go speak everywhere, because guess what? You're in demand. I mean, you're in demand for information and what you've got. I mean, when you have so much information to give, and you've got so much love to give, and you've got all this specialization in your student, and you're making sure you're giving all this massive information that you have been doing, which is a passion, and you're somebody in your field, I promise you people will give you money for that. You understand? I promise you they'll call you and say, Danny Milivojevic, I'll give you $50,000, you come give us a nice 2-hour speech over here. I promise you they'll ask you for that. You understand? And then you just say, you have to give me an accommodation, all this, I'll come. You understand? You understand? And that way you understand you have 50 grand and you made in 1 year what people make in a 9 to 5 job. You understand? And guess what? You did it in 2 hours. You understand? You have to understand that's the best road. You understand? The best road is go and work for freedom. And you're never doing it for the money. I promise you, if they don't ever offer you to come and public speak for them, you're going to do it on the street anyway. You understand? You're going to do it on the street. You don't care about them. You don't care about their opportunities. You're going to create your own opportunity. You understand? I never asked anybody to be on the street today. You understand? I just came here. I just came with myself. You understand? I give myself a yes today. I give myself a yes every single day on the street. You understand? Because guess what? I'm not losing anything. I'm not losing anything. I'm giving you content, as you can see. I promise you, if you're inspired today, you're going to do the same. You're going to do the same every single day. Because I'm the only person in Australia right now doing public speaking on the street. You understand? I promise you, that's unique. I need you to go and do the same thing. I'm the only person doing public speaking on the street in Australia for 3 hours every day. You know? I promise you, it's 3 hours every day. You understand? So realize how much that is. I realize that's communication. I realize that's communication skills. I realize that's really the next level. You understand? You can do 4 hours every day. You go do 4 hours. You understand? You go do hours. You go do hours and hours or 4 hours of content every single day, or 5 hours, or 6 hours, or 7 hours. You do it every single day. You make sure that you stay consistent. You make sure you practice and practice and practice, because eventually down the line, and in 50 years' time, I promise you, I'll be holding big events around Australia. Understand? I'll be holding massive events over the next 73 years. You watch this. You just watch, because my communication skills will get me there. I promise you, my promotion will get me there. I promise you, no matter what, I'm just a person promoting myself. I promise you, those people are inspired. I promise you, they're going to check me out and they're going to do word of mouth for me. Understand? Because guess what? They're doing it for something greater. You have to understand, I follow something greater than me. I follow Jesus. I promise you, Jesus is greater than me. I promise you, when I follow Jesus, I promise you, Jesus says people will promote you when you uplift them. You understand? And that way you understand, you keep doing it every single day. You show up for your work, and you will be gratitude every single day. You'll be successful. You'll be something great. You'll be something worthwhile. You'll be doing something really worth it. You'll be doing something that's focused. You're laser sharp. You're laser sharp to write something down. You understand? Because each and every time you talk it up, you have to live it up too. You have to live up what you are doing. You have to understand, most people never care about you. You have to understand, you got to lift yourself anyway. You be a person who understands that when you're planning that down, you're going to succeed in that. You understand? You're going to succeed because you look ahead and you feel ahead. You plan with your feeling, you plan with your mindset. I use your mindset. Otherwise, you use your mindset, you use your feelings, you use your fingers, you use your toes, you use your whole body to make sure you can do everything that you can. I realize you use everything about you to understand that you can do anything you can in your power to make sure you succeed. Understand? You can do anything right now today to make sure you succeed. So go and do it, and make sure no matter what, you're always a successful person today, because that way you're never limiting yourself. You're always a successful person today, and that way you understand that when you're bettering communication skills, you're a person who's pronouncing a better way, and the better way is now. You understand? Because now is your time to write. I need you to write more. I need you to write 500 and more words a day. You understand? You never limit yourself to how many words a day you can do. You do as much as you can every single day. You understand? You do as much as you can that's effective. You do as much as you can in terms of value. You do something today that's really going to help you. And that way you're going to be inspiration. You're going to be an inspiration. You're going to do something amazing. You have to realize when you stuff up, you pick yourself up and you lift. Anyway, you have to understand that today, for example, I posted on my Instagram, I realised that 20 photos could have done better, although you understand that no matter what, I don't care, because here I am, I've done 3 hours of content, and guess what? I'm not proud, although you understand I'm grateful, and that's why you have to understand, you never focus on the negatives of life, you focus on the pros and the positive side. You understand that whatever's the con is the things against. You have to understand, you never read the things against, you have to realise you read the things that are positive only, and that way you understand you're always a pro, and you're never a con. You understand? I never need you to be a con from Transformers. I need you to understand you got to be a pro, and you have to be something like Optimus Prime, which is your film, and you are the Optimus Prime in your film, and that way you're the person who's saving the day all the time, and you're saving the day in a way that you're growing and you're planning, you're never frustrated, and you're realising that you're asking yourself questions like, how can I be less frustrated in life? I mean, how can I be less of a failure in life, and how can I be more successful in life, and how can I learn quicker, and how can I learn more effectiveness in life, and how can I realize that this person can help me, and how can I really broaden my aspect of activities in life to make sure that I can do greater. And that way you're always focusing for the greater good, and that way you make more common sense. I promise you, when you make more common sense, you're a person who's doing something for nothing, and you understand Brian Tracy's book, when you do something for nothing, you also have greater measure of success, and when you have greater measure of success, you'll be the best in your world. And that's the whole fashion show today. You have to understand the fashion show today is plan today and learn how to plan better, because nobody else can teach you. I can teach you, although you have to understand, you have to read my content in order to realize how to really plan. I realize that the more you read my journal and the more you read my videos and also my quotes and also my audio programs, you understand how to plan better. And then you'll realize how to do everything much better. And then because I am successful and nobody can lie to me about that. And then because I'm better than yesterday and nobody has the power to do that. And then because I have the power to control my life and nobody can control my life. And then, nobody's controlling my life. That's what I'm saying. You're going to do much better than yesterday. I realize that when you're better than yesterday, I promise you, many people are never going to call you an inspiration. And many people are never going to do anything to help you. And many people are never going to give you an opportunity. And I promise you, many people are never going to love you and they're never going to give you what you need. I promise you, you need to figure it out inside and you need to look inside for it and you have to call yourself all that you need. You know what I'm saying? You give yourself all the love. You give yourself the inspiration. You give yourself what you need. You never look for it in other people. You go and give it to yourself every single day. I promise you that if you're going the way of sex, I never need you to go that way. And you should understand Jesus never did. And you should understand the delayed gratification. And you never ever look at other people and how much sex they're having, because that's a destructive mentality. And you should understand Jesus would say, focus on something greater than sex. And you understand that you have a passion. You go and think and grow rich, such as Napoleon Hill said. You understand that his book says think and grow rich, and you understand it's really delayed gratification. You understand that he says people seldom succeed before 40, and that's because they're having too much sex around. You understand? Because when they're having too much sex, you'll realize they're less productive people, and you have to understand that you never be that type of person that has so much sex. You be a person who's greater than sex, and that way you understand to delay gratification, because sex is a pleasure, and when you're having too much pleasures in life, that's why you seldom succeed before 40. You understand? I stay sober now. Over the next 12 years, I'll be 40. You understand? And then guess what? I'll be vegan too. I realize that over the next 73 years, I'll outlive some people by 30 years more. Understand? I'll live 30 years longer, because most people are going down and they're looking like skeletons and they're looking like anxiety people and anxious people and bulimia people. I promise you, no matter what, you stay away from them. You have to understand that it's really, they understand you go where the rich are. And I promise you, you go where the rich people are. I promise you that the one thing that disciples the rich with poor people is a skill mindset. I promise you that rich people have a skill that you need, and you need to go and learn it. You need to understand that the skills is why the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer. You understand? So just realize that it's really about equality in life. You have to understand that it's really about being equal with everybody, and you have to understand that if you're poor today, it's because you're poor with your wisdom and you're not teaching it more than enough. You have to understand, when you look at Grant Cardone, that guy's got 4,500 videos and courses. You need to go do the same thing. You understand? You have to go realize you have to teach more to become richer. You have to understand, to get richer, you have to plan to become richer every single day. Understand? I promise you take it one day at a time. You do it one step at a time. You do something 1 day at a time, and 1 hour at a time, and 10 minutes at a time, and 1 minute at a time, and 1 second at a time. You plan it each and every step of the way. Understand? I promise you, if you didn't have a plan to have $1 billion, you'll never have it in your life. I promise you, all I ever plan in life is to have freedom in life, and that's all I ever need. You understand? I don't need $50 billion and more when I have freedom already. You understand? I promise you that with all the money in the world, I promise you that most people are stuck and chasing more of the money. I promise you that is loss. I promise you they're lost, because once you make more money, I promise you it's really that you need to improve your mentality and your success and your vocabulary and your public speaking and your looks and the money and everything in your life. And never just the money. And I promise you that people just teach money alone. I promise you that's never the way to go either. I promise you the way to go is to teach everything in one. You understand? I promise you teach everything in one. I promise you expand, and you'll never just be a financial coach. You'll be a financial coach and a health coach and a life coach and a manager and a leadership, and you'll do everything in one. Understand? I need you to do everything in one. I need you to specialize in one little aspect. Understand? I need you to be broad. I understand? You go and teach time management. That's also management. I promise you that's also financial attitude. I promise you that writing is a financial attitude. I promise you that looking better is a financial attitude. I promise you that losing weight is a financial attitude. I promise you that people who learn nutrition is a financial attitude. I promise you those people who hold a journal and teach how to do it. I promise you that people who hold a journal and teach how to do a journal are the ones who have a financial attitude. Understand? So when you're on the street performance, I promise you it's a person who has a financial attitude. Understand? Because they're teaching something. I mean, what are you doing today? Understand? I mean, you go and realize that you go and do something amazing today. Understand? You go and teach something that you've never done and you've never taught, and you go teach it, and then you learn much about it, and then you realize that when people ask you how to plan, you realize you've done it in course 199, and you go and teach it, because it's a question that people ask, and then you go solve questions, and you go and do that on your own time, and to realize that it's a work day today, and guess what? I'm working 24 hours every single day, because I'm planning to work every single moment of every single moment and of every single moment, you understand? Because I'm always planning to do something, I'm always doing something to make myself more incredible, and that's the whole point of life. The whole truth of life is live your talk, and that way you understand that when you're living your talk, you'll make it much greater for yourself. I promise you, you've got nothing to be afraid of. You never be afraid of anything. You just step up into the crowd and you teach them how to live. And those who want to listen will listen, and those who never need to listen, I promise you, will never ever be more successful than you. Understand? So be the person who understands that those people who reject you, reject themselves also. You understand? So be the person who understands that you go and lift people, and you never reject people, you just lift them. You understand? You understand to just be a person who lifts the crowd and just never reject yourself. You understand? You never reject yourself in the first place. You understand? You never reject yourself. If you're a person that understands that when people are rejecting you, you just understand they're loving themselves also, although you understand that some people reject you and they're dying. I mean, I don't know what your circumstance is, although you understand that when you reject me, you must be loving yourself the most, because that's what I need for you to do every single day in terms of something greater. As I say, each and every time I show up for my street performance, I'm doing greater than yesterday. Because that's success. I show up for success every single day. I'm doing something greater than I am. I'm doing something that's worth it. I'm doing something that I can do, because when you do something you can do, you do it better. You do it better than yesterday, and you do it better than anybody else. Understand? Because when you can speak faster than the next guy, I promise you'll be more exciting to listen to than the slow person who speaks. I never need that in my life. Understand? I never need the people who talk, I went to school and I did this and I went. I realize that's really boring. You understand? I need you to speak really fast. I need you to understand you need. I have no ego. I'm not an egotistical person. You understand that those people speak really fast and can speak on camera and can do something on camera and can do it in front of people really quickly. I promise you that's the whole point. You need to realize to emphasize much better. Understand? You need to emphasize with yourself in a greater way each and every day, and that's called planning. And each and every time you plan, you're going to do it better than yesterday. And you should understand that those people who have women or men in their life, you never need them. You understand? Because you never need anybody in your life except for yourself. You have to understand it's never about pleasure activities. You understand? And you should understand that sex is a pleasure activity, and the more you stay away from sex, the more you delay gratification, and the better leader you are. You understand? Because guess what? Jesus never had sex, and you understand why he's such a leader today. You understand? Because he stays away from sex. You understand? Because sex destroys people. You understand? You have to understand that. You be a person who understands. You go and lift yourself. You go and do something amazing. You go do something amazing today because you deserve it. You deserve to really be lifted. You deserve to really understand that leadership is no sex. Understand? And it's no pleasure. Understand? You got to stay away from it. Understand? Because that's what Jesus does. I promise you, Jesus never made a kid either. Understand that when you're ashamed, you look at Jesus. And if you have no kids, you look at Jesus, because Jesus never had a kid either. Understand? You got to realize that there is somebody out there that loves you, and that person is you. You have to understand you're not outside, you're inside. You have to understand that somebody does love you, although you have to understand that it's just you, that you must love yourself much more than anybody else. And there's nothing out there, guys. You have to understand it's not about, you have to realize it's not about the outside world, you have to realize it's about the inside world, and you have to understand that anybody that loves you the most is yourself. You have to understand it's not about outside, you have to realize it's about inside. I realize that out there is nothing. I realize that anybody that loves you out there is only inside. Understand? I promise you, it's only inside that you can find your love. You can never find your love in other people. You'll never find your confidence in other people. I never need you to put your faith in other people. I never need you to believe in other people. I never need you to help other people. I need you to help yourself. I need you to understand it's about yourself. I'm just lifting myself here, and what I give you is the recommendation of how I've grown in this video. You then have to go teach your own way, and also understand I gave you some ideas, although I've accomplished this video. You have to understand I'm still growing anyway. You have to understand the whole point of life is grow more and do more and be more. You have to understand when you're doing much more in life, you're going to be someone much more foundational. I thank you very much, boss. You have to understand you just be that type of person who understands when you have support, you go and support yourself even more. You understand? You go to support, and that way you'll be somebody much greater. You understand? Because guess what? When you're on the street, you go and do your best performance anyway. You understand? Because that way you'll do something much foundational in your life that's really going to be worth it, and that way you'll be a person of high integrity and high intent, which is also a person who has a better law of attraction. And you can go read the law of attraction each and every day, because it's just relating to this moment to make sure you're better than yesterday and a much more positive person, because those people who have positive vibes are planning for it every single day. I promise you, there are people who have constructive criticism that is really much better. I realize that I realize anything constructive is the way to go. You understand? Because when you're a constructive person, you're also planning better, you're also scheduling better, you're making sure that your business strategies in terms of life, you understand that business strategies is just planning your material and making sure that you're a better person yesterday and making sure you're growing, because each and every thought is a business strategy, and make sure you have positive ones that are leading people never astray. Understand? So be that type of person who understands that life is now and it's to be lived now. So guys, make sure that after this video you go and learn how to plan even more, because it's never about finishing anything off. You understand that I'm still going to talk about this in my next videos, and it's going to be much better than yesterday. You understand? I realize no matter what, I finished 3 hours of content here today. I realize I did in a video. You have to understand, now it's time to realize I have to revise and I have to make sure I upload my videos and also prepare for the next day, which is to succeed even more. And guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Although, make sure you share my video around, and that way you're doing it for something greater, you're never doing it for me. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you all, and make sure that you're inspiring today.